Hi, my name is Christine Rice, and this is my sixth set of book critiques. For this text, Other Poems of the Night by Joyce Sigmund. This book is a book of poetry, and it won the Newbery Medal. It contains 12 lyrical poems that talk about the mysteriousness of animals at nighttime. The book also includes illustrations with every poem, which add a lot to the poetry. And I love this book not only because it serves as another great piece in our poetry unit, since my previous text sets have included specific authors and even historical poetry of a certain time. I thought including one that had art and illustrations within it would create a great connection between illustrations and text, and also teach more about poetry itself. So my first content area would be in art. After reading one poem from the collection as a class and analyzing the illustrations and their connections to the poem itself, I would ask my students to pick one specific poem to focus on themselves and complete assignments for. So I would make sure that we analyzed the poem as a class so that they felt comfortable with doing this before going to independent work with one specific poem. So after picking their poem, my students would be asked to write a list of at least 5 connections between the words of the poem and its illustration. This would be done during class time so that I can walk around and assist the students with making meaningful connections. I think that with something like poetry and making connections, it's important for me as the teacher to be in the classroom so that if they need help with some of the harder concepts or abstract ideas, I could be there to help them. And as a final activity, I would ask my students to create their own illustrations for the poem they chose, along with a list of 5 of their own poem illustration connections. This would demonstrate why they illustrated what they did for that specific poem. The second content area I would focus on is poetry itself. So since my class will have already began their poetry unit at this point, I would use this time to review some of the literary devices that are commonly found in poetry. So I would ask my students to each provide a literary device or a specific type of poem and its definition and post it on a class Padlet. I, the teacher, will then review the Padlet and make sure that all of the definitions are correct. And I would ask the students to then study the Padlet definitions, and then I would give them a short quiz on the definitions. I thought this would be really interesting because I think the students would enjoy being quizzed on something that they defined and something that they were able to put into a Padlet and create as a class. So to be quizzed on that rather than just a simple sheet of rhetorical devices or literary devices, I think this would make all the difference in quizzing them and assessing their knowledge. And finally, as a final project, I would ask my students to locate 5 of the literary styles or devices that were on the Padlet in the poem they chose for the previous assignment in art. This would then be handed in and reviewed. Some other titles and genres I chose are Trombone Shorty, which is a biographical picture book, 3 Times Lucky, which is a realistic fiction novel, Feathers, which is a realistic or historical fiction novel, and Hitler Youth, which is an informational book. I love Trombone Shorty because, again, it's a picture book, but it tells a great biography of Trombone Shorty, and the pictures are great. And Feathers is a great book, similar to Stargirl and other books that focus on that hard age when it's difficult to fit in, and it's important to realize that you're special, that these students are special and unique, and that they should be proud of that rather than shy away from it. So I thought this would be a great book for that hard age. So this is Christine, and this concludes my 6th set of book critiques.